evening, and welcome to Conversation with the Love Crusader. Yes, I know you've missed me. I'm happy to be back live with you again this evening. Yes, and I have a very interesting conversation for you. If you're just coming across the platform for the first time, it's called Conversation with the Love Crusader. It's a platform where we talk about love, we talk about life, we talk about relationships, and we try to have fun when we do so. So hit the subscribe button, click on the notification bell so you know when we are live and you will not miss any of our videos. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, all of the social media platform. It's the Love Crusader on across all platforms. Welcome again to Conversation with the Love Crusader. And I have, my regular, but not so regular. By popular demand, I remember the last time they were here, a lot of people were like, please bring this couple again, please bring this couple again. They are here and they are back. Steve and Mary Obayoje. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Hello, viewers. Welcome to an amazing time again. Invite somebody, tell somebody to tell somebody. I'm sure you'll be blessed, enlightened, encouraged at the end of this session.
I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they will be. Mama, oh yeah, say hello now. Say hello, say hello.
Hello, viewers. Good to be back here. Hello, Mama C. Thank you for having
Hello.
us.
Thank you for always obliging me. They spoil me this ones. I won't tell you everything, but they spoil me. I just like grab them. As busy as they are, they never say no to me. That's why I say they spoil me. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Okay, let's go into it because our 1 hour is not always enough when we're having fun on this platform. We're talking about love and emotional intelligence. Sorry, love and emotional intelligence. And already the whole week, this topic was already gathering so much let's say traction. First of all, people asked me which one is emotional intelligence again, and what does it have to do with love. So that's where we're starting from. Let's break it down so anyone who hears it can understand what we're talking about. What are we talking about when we're talking about emotional intelligence?
Okay. Actually, when you sent us this topic to as the focus, I was like, wow, it sounds so huge and like, can we really exhaust and deal with this topic? But to make it simple, okay, so if by way of definition, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and use your own emotions to influence or interact with others. So, knowing that we are social being, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just engage anyhow. I think that's what emotional intelligence is saying. Like
Okay.
you have to be deliberate and intentional with how you engage with others in your interaction, how you manage the feeling of others you're relating with. It's very important. You must be intelligent with your interactions, basically. So, in a nutshell, that's what I would say emotional intelligence is. Maybe you
Okay.
add to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's the ability to manage self first in a positive way that now manages other
Others.
people, that influences other people. So, with the intention of having positive, godly, and right relationships. So, connecting it to love, yes, is the understanding of yourself, your emotional self, and the emotional awareness of your partner, your neighbor, so that two can now play the game. We can better manage ourselves.
Mm.
That's emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to further explore how it relates to love, but I'm liking something here, and I want us to talk a little more about it. Self-awareness. So it starts with an awareness of yourself. Who am I?
Yes.
and my emotions. That's what we're saying. So
Yes.
before you talk, because once you say emotional intelligence, you start thinking, okay, maybe how to manage the emotions of others. You see, so I want to talk more about that. How do I get that self awareness? How do I get to know me, to be conscious of me,
Okay. So,
who I am, my emotions?
all right. So, permit me to take a biblical. Every time I'm here, I always try to apologize to those who may not be very biblical, because that's what I know. That's what we live by. That's our foundation. So, the Bible speaking says that you need to love your neighbor, and then he made a very intelligent, intentional instruction that will help you love your neighbor. He said, as you love yourself.
Mm,
So, self awareness is you recognizing and understanding yourself. Only then can you better understand your partner, your neighbor, their influences, their roles in your life. So, it is
mm,
recognizing your emotions, how it affects your thoughts and behavior. It begins by understanding your past, your upbringing,
mm,
discovering yourself. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, what are your triggers, what's your definition of safe. And only
mm,
when you have fully understand yourself will you be able to now understand the right person. Scripture saying that he gave Adam a help that was meet for him. That person may not be right for another person may not be right for you. But if there is self awareness, if you choose to develop your own intelligence of yourself, it
mm,
critically makes you understand what you need, what you want, and who should be in your space.
mm. So I am already married, because now you're talking of who I want in my space. I am already married. I never heard of emotional intelligence before. So can I now start that self-awareness in the marriage when I'm already maybe even old in the marriage? Because there are some people might be listening to us and say, hey, is it now that I want to start, you know, doing that self-awareness? Is it too late? Is it before marriage or after marriage? When should this really happen?
Well, for me, I believe it's a continuous process. They, so if you're already married, I would say you can still engage EI. I think that's the short form for emotional intelligence, right? So um practically is the self-awareness thing has to do with being in tune with yourself, knowing your strength, your weakness, your likes, your dislike. The truth is, even in you knowing yourself, you cannot exhaust it. You discover that with every phase of life, with every, I don't know, like, we evolve. We actually
Yeah,
evolve. So
yeah,
you discover that what you're liking when you're 16, 18, 21, over time, it begins to
Changes.
change.
True.
Just take 1 minute now and think back when you're a teenager, while you're very much younger, those guys you're having crush on, or the ladies you're having crush on, at some point when you see them later in life, and you like, was something wrong with me? Like, why should I crush on this kind of person? So we
Yeah.
actually evolve over time, and so it's continuous. That self-awareness stuff is continuous. Being in tune with yourself is continuous, and in the circle of marriage, you're already married. I know on this platform we've spoken about communication for so long. So over time, when we have new realities, we are beginning to discover other aspects of our life. You know, for some of us, it could be change of jobs or certain condition, your location change. So many
Mm,
things can influence you. So with your partner, you should have that forum where you talk about these things and say, okay, this is now who I am, or I'm feeling this way concerning this. Talk, talk, communicate more. And so you are married, you can actually um apply the emotional intelligence thing, you know.
Okay, so
Okay.
when I was younger and growing up, I used to think it was something that some people were born with. I used to see some people who were so very good, like they had this excellent way of handling situations. They had their emotions under control almost every time. You hardly see them blow up or flip the handle, like some people will say. And I always say, I wish I was like that. Is it a matter of wish or it's a matter of work? Is it something that you work on yourself for? Or is it something that you are born with? Maybe some people just have it naturally and some people don't have it. Just like IQ. Some people have high intelligence and some don't have.
Yeah.
Well, well, it isn't. It's not as much something you are born with. There are people with better instincts, and rather than call it emotional intelligence, we'll call them IQ. So yes, they are born with a higher IQ. They're born in quote an environment that have formed and framed them in that way you're meeting them in their upbringing. Because part of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, it begins with building from childhood, building confidence, understanding who you are. So it is all the influences from when you were born to any day you are connecting to this conversation today. Your awareness or emotional intelligence is all you have been through to this time. So there was nothing in your childhood that really prepared you for everything. You just had a basic foundation. So yes, in a proper home bringing in some society, we begin with that consciousness and so we are better with it. But it is not a thing that you cannot learn or develop as you go on. Because like Wifey rightly said, you keep improving your knowledge about yourself. You keep getting to know yourself more as life gives you some new realities. You
Mm.
keep adjusting, and so you keep developing your emotional intelligence as you go. So in case you're already married, this discussion is seriously for you. You need to now, if you've not gone through that process, you need to, as we speak, begin the journey from the self awareness. Who am I? What do I like? What I don't like? What do I stand for? What triggers me? What makes me happy? What's my strength? What is
Mm.
my weakness? And then you are able to have a better discussion with your partner on how they can play the right role in your development. For those who are not yet married, oh, congratulations. You need to now do all of these so that you can now choose the best among all the options for your life.
I
Married.
would like to add
Okay, go
to
on.
that. You know, there's another way we can look at this whole self awareness thing. It's from the place of understanding your temperament. You know, the
Excuse me.
choleric, I use sanguine,
Mm.
melancholy, and the rest. So
Mm.
once you understand your temperament, then you discover that in your relationship with others, you begin to see that, okay, this person is quite different from me. So understanding temperament is a big deal, and nobody's born with it, but you can be intentional. You can be intentional with your relationship with others. Know it from today in case you feel there are times we look at people and we wonder, why is this person like this? Why are you behaving this way?
Mm.
Understand that we are all different. So we have those who are choleric, you have those who have a combination of two, So once you have that knowledge, you'll be quite flexible with others and know that, okay, you are different from me. What I may accept is different from what you accept. And on that basis, you can begin to intentionally, there's this intentionality with the emotional intelligence thing. So you become more intelligent, you apply intelligence in your relationship with others, even in marriage. Even in
Okay.
marriage.
Mostly in marriage.
Yeah.
Mostly in marriage, I think
Yes,
that's the word. It's mostly in marriage and in relationships. um
yes.
and just to say that we're not just talking about the marriage relationship here. I begin to understand that it is necessary for your work relationships, the way you relate with your colleagues. It's necessary for your
Yes.
friends. It's necessary. It's just a very, very necessary ingredient for our relationships in general, in the way we relate with people. Okay. I want to bring it down to love. Why is it necessary? Why is it important? What's the impact that emotional intelligence has? Because we're speaking this plenty grammar in some people's ears, and they're like, why do I need it? Why is it important? What's the impact that having emotional intelligence can have on a love life?
Okay. Like today, I said to somebody that we can have two good people. Like when you see this person and this person, you will agree they are two good individuals. But where there is no emotional intelligence, you discover that when these two people come together, they'll make a whole mess of the whole relationship. Why? One party or both of them refuse to apply emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is quite important because at certain point, your knowledge of the other party will help you set boundaries. You begin to read beyond the words of people, of your husband, of your colleague. There are times you tell somebody, "Oh, how are you this morning?" You can say, "How are you this morning?" And the person is like, "I'm fine." But if expression is not really saying, "I'm fine." So emotional intelligence help you see beyond words. You can, from the action, from the emotions, the reaction of others, you can now tell that, man, something is definitely wrong, and it will propel you to maybe take the next step of action. So
Mm,
it's really a powerful tool for any relationship.
All
mm,
right, let me add to that. Love is an emotion.
okay.
Love between two people, love between siblings, it's a connection with your emotions.
Mm,
The expressions of love, our understanding of love, are all about feelings and emotions. It has
mm-hmm,
to appeal to our senses, our emotions, the way we want to be loved. So what better tool, what better way can you understand these love emotions apart from understanding emotional intelligence, gaining the knowledge and the skill of who you are, understanding your person, what works for you, and then
mm,
that helps you understand the place of the other person. It makes you also recognizes, once you're able to recognize your own emotions, then you're more likely to recognize the emotions of others, to give some leeway, to be more open to the emotional responses around you. So it is critical and very important. We all need it quickly.
mm, mm. Okay, I agree. I agree with all the points you've made. And yes, I mean, love is an emotional thing. So if you don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to, I think that is why sometimes some people say love is not enough. You know,
Love is not enough.
you begin to understand, the web that
Yeah.
is drawn together in this thing that we call love, this powerful thing that we call love, because you have to be able to sustain the love. And I believe that one of the ways is this understanding of yourselves, being
Yeah.
able to being able to see beyond. I like the example, Dusi gave now. Oh, how are you? Fine. But it's not fine. Most times they accuse women of being the one who say, okay, but it's not okay. They say as a man, don't just take it
Exactly.
at face value. But I think it's
98% of the time.
a man of God. Do you have the statistical data to back up
I'm a
your
married man
claim?
of 15 years.
So, are you
That
talking
experience is
about
heavy.
your wife or women generally?
My wife is a woman. My mother is a woman. And Love Crusader is my sister, my senior sister. She's a woman.
So, what are you trying to say? That we are your research data, and that we're
That,
not.
that's my population. That's where I need to start. Charity begins at home.
Okay, okay. Actually, they accuse women more, of saying it's okay, but it's not okay. They say when she says okay, you better sit with her and find out. There are some ways, and I watched the video, and I think I shared the video with you guys last during the week.
Yeah.
With Pastor Okonkwo, Mildred, and I love them. I love that couple, the Okonkwas. Anyways, and he was talking about the fact that sometimes all that is required is a hug. So
Yes.
she's saying, you don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore. And the tendency is for the man to want to defend and prove, I bought you this. I did this for you. How can you say I don't love you? I got you flowers yesterday, just yesterday. I got you chocolates, and he was saying it's about understanding what is needed at that moment. I think that's my understanding of what he was trying to say.
Yes.
And that it might
Yes.
be something as little as just give that person a hug. You don't feel love, let me help you. It's a feeling. Give the person that thing that make them feel loved. Is this too much to ask, man of God? I'm asking you because you're a man. And they always say these women are the ones who complicate things. Are the women asking for too much, really?
Well, I don't think they are asking for too much. I think the problem is that they are not asking.
Okay, tell me.
Because many of the time, emotional intelligence begins with me knowing me, and then I have to go through the school of knowing you. But because both parties are already going through that process, you know yourself. You need to communicate yourself. So in a situation where my emotional intelligence have brought me to the point where I'm noticing, okay, maybe something is not right, and I'm saying, baby, what is wrong? And of course, yeah, he said nothing. Yeah. When they
Yeah.
say nothing, it's a bag of plenty things. And then you're
Mhm.
trying to push. I think it is not too much to uncover what the woman needs at that time. But I like to plead to the female gender and the folks to say one of the things you can help us do, understanding that we are also wired differently. We are logical, you're more emotional, we are different in the way we see things. We may not always be at the same point of view. At that point, can you just speak up and say, I'm not talking about the gift you bought yesterday, I just need a hug. I'm sure that 90% of men will find it in their place to give that hug at that time. The challenge we have most times is that we don't understand exactly what you need, because with the female gender, what she needs in this situation, while we, the men, logically are saying, okay, it's the same thing going on. You're trying to do what you did yesterday that you think worked, but today that's not what she needs. Yesterday it may be a hug, today it may just be space, tomorrow it could be something else. And that's what makes the woman wonderful and unique.
Why we're
Just
here. That's why
communicating.
we're having this conversation. The ability to be able to deduce, and look, I don't want this to be a gender thing, but it goes both ways. The ability to be
Yes.
able to deduce at that moment, what is needed. It's like what we read with the 5 love languages. Sometimes, he says sometimes there's frustration because you were feeling the wrong tank. You see,
Yeah.
you have to know the tank that you need to be filling, the emotional tank that needs to be filled at that particular time. Now, I think for me, that's where the intelligence comes in, which is
Exactly what
why
I was
we're
going to say.
engaging. Yes, yes, go on, Dupsy.
It's called emotional intelligence, and we are talking. Yes, we say it begins with self-awareness. But why do you have the self-awareness? So that you will also be equipped to interact and manage others. So it's not every time you'll be told, "I need a hug." It's not every time to the woman say, "Tell me you love me." Do you understand? At times you just want to hear, "I love you," and I will not tell you
I love
to.
you.
I will not tell you to tell
Just in
me,
case, I
"I
love you.
love you."
I love you. I love you.
So
I love you. I
there's
love
an
you.
intelligence that make you understand. Now look at it this way: you have a bunch of key. You want to open a door, you should know the right key to use in activating the other person. That is what it is, without being told. That is
Now,
Okay,
where the intelligence is.
okay,
yes, we
hold on,
agree.
hold
But Ms. Doko,
on.
permit me to say something on this topic.
Tell me.
Now, in the example that you have given, the door is not a living being. And
Mhm.
I
Oh,
liked the way you began the conversation, wifey, to tell our viewers that one of the keys of emotional intelligence is communication, continuous, consistent communication.
Yes.
Now, for us as the male folks, and it could even happen to the female folks, like you said, you may just be feeling the wrong tank, because at that point, your level of emotional intelligence is saying this is what she needs. And then I like to give you credit for attempting, for identifying. So if I'm trying to fill the wrong tank at that point, it is sweeter. It's part of building my emotional intelligence of knowing you better to say, oh, sorry, I don't want sex. I just want to be held. Can you just hold me? And then I've now come to understand that there are times that it is not, it's just holding her. It's just saying I love you.
Man
It's
of
just
God,
giving her space. Whatever works for you at that time,
let me help
let's
you.
communicate.
Let me help you. The
Yes.
truth, sometimes she does not even know what is wrong.
Actually,
Hold on, let me explain. Because women, all right, I am premenopausal. So I'm in a place now where my emotions can just go haywire. Like, some hormones are dancing and making drama and playing games in my body system. And I could just wake up tomorrow morning and be very emotional. In fact, I've had a night, I just woke up in the night and I was crying. And I was just crying. And then my husband was like, what is wrong with you? And I was just bawling. And then, what is wrong? What did the next thing he entered was, what did I do? And I said, it's not always about you. I go upstairs because he said, what did I do? It's not always about you. Because really, the man didn't offend me. And it was not about him. But my body was aching. My system was not allowing me to sleep. A lot of, chemicals, hormonal chemicals were going on in my body and in my system. And so I couldn't explain it to him. And the moment I screamed at him, like, it's not always about you. My man turned and continued to sleep. I'm not trying to indict him. But I felt like at that
it's a good
moment,
example. That happens to all of us.
at that moment, he should have just held me. I think that's what I needed at that point. So it's not a matter of me saying it. I'm just trying to say sometimes we don't know what to tell you is wrong.
But
Because I'm a
then,
woman, I can explain that. So it's just for you to discern. Somebody has just said, my brother in Christ, just increase your spirit of discernment. Oh Lord,
correct.
increase the spirit of discernment in our brothers.
Oh, man. Okay, I want to say this. But
Okay.
do you know many times there are times we actually communicate too, but the other person downplays, feels it's trivial.
That's
So I've been in a situation, I've been
yes.
in a situation where I sat down, I'm crying, and and it comes and like,
Me. And I come. Go ahead. I'm the only guy that can see you crying. I'm the only one you have.
and it comes like, why are you crying? And I explain myself. Is that why you're crying?
Hey,
Like
thank you.
this
Like,
kind of
really? Really?
really? I beg. You know, that kind of, and he walks away.
I
And
wrote
oh
down
my
here.
god, it's doubled the emotions in me. You're
I wrote down
trying
here.
to even communicate it. So
I wrote
really,
down here. Let me help you. I wrote down here that
okay.
emotional intelligence enables us to show empathy
Empathy,
and
exactly.
validate our partner's feelings, even when we don't
Exactly.
understand them. So it doesn't have to
Exactly.
be a big deal to you. But if it's a
Mhm.
big deal to your partner, you put yourself in your partner's shoe, and because of that, you can empathize. You can, I think one of the worst things you can actually do to anyone, male or female, is to downplay their feelings and their emotions. I don't know if other
Exactly.
people, for me, it's very painful to me. If I say I'm feeling that
Everybody.
way, if you are not feeling that way, it doesn't mean that my feeling is not valid. So don't come and tell me, get up, all right, now I want to indict my dad. You know how how growing up in an ex-military man's house was. Like, you're lying down. just because of malaria. My friend, get up, go and take mercy, and let's go to church. Or get up, let's, like, you shouldn't be lying down. That kind of feeling. And like Pastor Steve was saying from the beginning, some of these things actually influence us. So don't be surprised when somebody says, "That why you're crying?" It comes from the influence of somewhere, of the upbringing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But we need to be aware that we can actually work on it. Especially if we know we're hurting our partner, it's hurting our relationship, then we should be able to work and improve on it. I want to come to the big elephant. Showing emotional intelligence during conflict. Right now, I'm not liking you, you don't like me. How does emotional intelligence come in? Because this is where I think the main, you see, some people, they are very sweet when there's no problem. The moment there's a conflict, there's a disagreement, you will see the side of them and be wondering, dear Lord, who did I marry? Married people in this place, please. Am I alone? Let me know whether I'm alone. You people should talk to me. You be like, who is this?
You have the multitude with you.
Who is this person I married? So how do we display this emotional intelligence even when we are not liking each other, when we are at that point, of conflict? How does it work? How can it work for us?
Woo! That's the big elephant.
Yes, it's the big elephant.
So there's a part of emotional intelligence that grows to the point of self-regulation.
Wow.
Now, so in the place of conflict, one of the first things I ask, especially for couples and connecting it to love, is what's the intention? So yes, there are issues right now. Do you want to destroy this home? Because if you can picture or agree on what you want to achieve, then the resolution becomes easier. So I'm not about to break my home. I'm just not happy about something, so I'm trying to address it. Now, if that's what I intend to do, then I must choose my words rightly. All these, like for the men, let me say one of the very frustrating thing men hear from the females. Say, we're having a discussion, we're having a conflict, and the person says something like, since I got married to you, I have never had peace. And I'm like, You have never done this. We as pastors, we counsel couples. Someone with 4 children, he's saying, I have never enjoyed the marriage. Were you fighting on the bed? How did the 4 children come?
During war.
During war, you guys were creating children. So in times of conflict, I like to give some few steps I think with emotional intelligence you can apply. Number 1, pause before reacting.
Take a break.
If we will all just take a break, especially when the heat is on, you're feeling, you're high, okay? Or she's high at this point. The intention is not to destroy. Why don't you just take a break and address it later?
Thank you.
Pause before you react. Take a deep breath. It's just psychologists will tell you count 1 to 10, count 1 to 20.
Count backwards.
Count backwards, count forwards before you engage in an intense conversation, even if you're trying to give a solution. Right? Another thing, stay focused on the issues. This is one part that we don't do well in conflict management.
True.
So there is an issue, and then everybody begins to extrapolate it and take it to order, maybe in self-defense. So the matter is, I'm not happy because of something you did A and B. And then we blow that conflict in trying to resolve it. Everybody seems to want to hurt the other person. So we need to be very self-aware and to be aware of our partner's method of resolving conflict. Now, the way it works for me may never work for my wife. She's different. So in the way in conflict, we need to now ask ourselves, grow in the intelligence to understand how does my wife approach it? What do I need to do when she has offended me? What works for her? What works for him? You know, we talk so much about love language and love language. And I jumped into a research about apology language. That's another great place to develop your intelligence in your relationships.
Mm.
Because what you call apology may not be what the other person call apology. So
Yep.
you hear and say, I've been apologizing for 3 days. But you're not speaking the language that works for your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I like to stop here.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. The number 2 points I think you need to give me again. I missed it. I have pause before you speak. Maintain the goal to resolve, not to destroy. But there was something you said which I think I missed.
Like joining issues with issues.
Yes, don't join issues. Okay.
So
Okay.
something just
Focus.
happened.
I said,
Focus on that.
focus on the issue.
Issue.
Because
That's
it is very damaging when in one conversation we now have 20 problems to tackle.
Mhm.
And the person is just second guessing themselves. How did we get here? How did it become this wide? And
so.
conflict.
Usually it happens when we are desperately looking for how to make the other person guilty of an
Yeah.
offense. So instead of dealing with this, everybody want to point out that you are also guilty of something. So nothing is resolved. You now have multiple cases, and at the end of the day, nothing is settled or resolved.
And I think
So
also the initial issue is forgotten in the middle of all the shouting and all the
all
all
Yes.
of
the
it.
so nothing is
we
resolved.
just we just lose focus and we enter into the irrelevant. So for both individuals in the love emotional intelligence school, we must stay focused in the time of conflict on what is on ground. Now the time your partner is talking about any way you got to the person is not the time to also bring up a response of saying, you too, when you did this the last time. It doesn't work at all. It's a killer of relationship. It even blocks intelligence. It makes people dull. They start second guessing themselves. They start asking themselves, am I normal? This is my emotion. Is something wrong with my upbringing? It really could be very crazy.
I think you see why I say me I'm still learning too, because sometimes I think I get to that point where I may not start
But
it
I
at
have
the
a
right.
question.
I'm not always the one who
Question:
starts. I'm not always the
how
one who
do you
starts.
have questions? I'm supposed to be providing solutions.
Yeah, because I feel it could be a question on somebody's mind.
All right,
Yes, okay,
shoot.
go on, tell us, shoot.
Now there could be an issue. Probably I'm trying to look for a perfect example. Or okay, I'm complaining about you don't close the door when you walk into the room. And you bring it up as a topic right now. And I go, but yesterday you also walked in, you did not close the door.
Terrible.
Now, will you say that is right or wrong? Because
Very wrong.
several times, you will always have one party trying to correct the other on a particular thing that they themselves are doing.
Yeah.
But you want one person to change, then you are right. You are the boss. You can continue. Or it's permissive, or you are permitted to just stick on your gun, but the other
I
person
think
must change on same subject matter.
I think a lot of the time,
Mm,
one major challenge we have is that we're actually not even listening to ourselves. There has
thank
to
you.
be that active listening in conflict. The thing that
Exactly.
majorly escalate conflict is when, okay, I come to you, I have a challenge, I want to talk to you, right? And then the moment I
Yeah.
start, you start answering me back. You're not waiting for me to even land, for me to finish explaining what it is I wanted to say to you. I think we should give ourselves that gift of listening to our partner, what they have to say.
Yes.
And if at the moment the thoughts running in your head is not something like that will be edifying, something that we build, then like Pastor said, pause. Count 1 to 100 if you want to. If you even need to go out, walk away, leave the
Take a
situation,
walk.
and
Mm,
come back at a time when you can make sense. The other challenge is also the way the matter is presented. So there is an accusatory tone that is different from you
Tone.
trying to explain how you feel. So I can come and say, and this is another example which is quite popular with women's complaint. I'm sorry, I'm a woman, so I'm going to use the example I know. I can come and say, you are always leaving the toilet seat up after
Yeah.
you use it. What does it take for you to close the toilet seat? Are you a child? Every time I talk to
Ew.
you about
That's
closing
are
toilet
you a
seat,
child?
do I have to always say it? Now, that is not a language that is loving. That's not emotionally intelligent, you know.
Intelligent. No.
But I can also say the same thing, and say, I feel like you are not listening to me. I feel like. So I am telling you my feeling. And an example is, I've always complained about you not lifting, closing the toilet seat after you use it, and you're still doing it. It's like you're not listening to me, and I feel like you're not hearing me. Now, I have not accused you. I have not said you are this. So that tone, because normally when you come to someone with an accusatory tone, the tendency is for the person to defend themselves.
True.
They want to defend themselves. So I think in the way we also explain it to ourselves is important. And most importantly, if somebody has been saying the same thing, for God's sake, stop doing it. I don't know how to explain this. It's paining me. Why do people repeat? Partners repeat the same thing and come back. The annoying one is there are some of them apologize. I know that there are those they say those ones will never ever apologize. But some apologize and still do it. And then apologize
It
and still
depends
do
on
it.
what it is. If
Depend on
I
what.
maybe you're told stop wearing color green, and you're asking why, and you're not told why, will you stop?
You should stop.
No, wait now.
Why
It
would you stop?
no.
You
So
just
these
stop
are some
because
of the
your
issues.
partner said so.
You should stop. You know, one of the things I wanted to add to your point,
Yes.
and that makes the conversation what was intended to be a conversation. Tone is critical.
True.
Tone is very critical. An approach is critical. Timing is critical.
Very critical.
Yeah.
Very
Time.
critical.
Mm.
There are times that it's just not right to bring it up. You
Exactly.
need to be that intelligent to understand time for everything.
Exactly.
Because at the wrong time, you get a wrong answer. With the wrong approach, you get a wrong answer. With the wrong
Mm,
tone, you get a wrong answer. But you see,
mm,
you can in your own intelligence think, or your own self-awareness think, I'm doing everything right. It takes two to tango. But I like to give the opposition or the opponent a big weapon. Every conflict or every point your partner brings up to say, this is how I feel, please always ensure that your first response is empathy.
Sure.
Even when you will not change, like mommy, like the Love Crusader just said, sometimes you have not seen enough reason, like my wife said, you've not been given a reason. So the man comes or the woman comes and say, I don't like color green. This green you're wearing, can you please stop? And you say, why? Say, I don't know. That's just the way I feel. It sounds ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
But the first thing you need to do as a partner is understand that if this person have now been able to verbalize whatever this feeling is, your first approach is to say, I understand. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know this was getting to you. I will do something about it. And then you can return with saying, all right, that nice conversation we had. I just want to understand why. Maybe that is the way we can deal with this. But please don't answer the someone's emotion with why.
mm.
You downplay the feeling. So it's emotional intelligence. When people come to you with emotional feelings, you may not understand. For the female, for the male, you may not understand. You don't even have to understand. What you need to do at that part is empathize.
Okay. Can I come in there?
Yep. I've got
Now
only
the
like 1 minute
video.
for you. One more minute. Go
Okay,
on.
the video you sent, the Pastor Kingsley and Mildred's
Yeah.
video.
Yeah,
Now, in communicating, I don't like color green. You don't just go, I don't like color green. That's not emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
exactly. You're talking to
So
an
I
adult.
remember it was talking about, is it buying a car or a house?
They
And he
can, yeah.
said a man is logical, a woman is emotional. So you must know how to sell your market.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for men, understand this. You don't just look at your wife or your colleague in the office because you are the boss. You are just dishing out instruction. No, you are not connecting it to their emotions. You should understand that, okay, for this worker, this is how I relate, or this is how I can sell the market. Like children too, you have some of them that are playful learners. If you are too serious with them, they will never grab it. They will never understand. So even in marriage, you don't just go, don't wear green. I don't like color green. Just like that, you are not selling your market. So find a way to deliver your, like say, your concern or what you are going through, so that it can be accepted and
Understood
understood
by the other
by the
person.
other person.
That's
That's
actually the aim.
emotional intelligence.
That is a very strong point to make. You know, it's not about just giving an instruction and expecting or a direction or control. You know,
Yeah,
if you say, for example, I don't like you wearing color green without actually giving me a reason, I could think that you're trying to control what I wear,
exactly.
which is why there should be a further conversation to say, I think color green doesn't suit you. And it's
Beautiful.
okay for you to think that way. You understand? That makes it look like you're talking to an adult who you also feel has emotional intelligence and would also
Absolutely.
think and relate with you, you know. So some of the things I put down here, because I want to leave this part and be able to quickly jump into what I told you all earlier, is one,
Okay.
express emotions without blaming. Once you start blaming your partner, they get defensive. So express your
True.
emotions in conflict. Express your emotions without blaming. One of the major things Pastor Steve said here, which we must not forget, is that the goal is to repair. And I'll talk about that very quickly soon so you understand. Unless you want to actually tear down the relationship. If your goal is to tear down the relationship, fine, say anything you like. Don't care about what you say. You know, the Love Crusader once said, if you tell someone to go to hell nicely, they will ask you to show them the way. That's emotional intelligence, Pauline. You're right.
Yeah.
Right on point. That's emotional intelligence. Recognize your triggers. And that was why we started the conversation with what an awareness of myself. Who am I?
Yeah.
Somebody was saying, well, I have anger issues. So, I don't mean those things I said, but it doesn't take away the words.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. You have
Don't say
anger
what you
issues.
don't mean.
You have anger issues. Deal with it, man. Deal with it. Deal with it, woman. It's not an excuse. Anger issues
Yeah.
can be
Love,
dealt with. There
love
are anger.
Crusader, can I just say something before I forget?
Tell
You
me.
know, they say love is blind, but
Yeah.
marriage used to open the eye. Did
When
you
you get
did you
there,
did you hear what I said?
your eye will open. I heard you clearly. Marriage will open your eyes. Take responsibility for your actions. Rather than
Yeah.
Yeah,
becoming defensive, take responsibility. In fact, even if
yeah.
it's not what you intended, I think it was Gypsy who made that statement. Yeah, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's the
Empathize.
empathy Pastor Steve was saying. That's where you should start from. I am sorry you feel that way, because your goal is not to make your partner feel hot. And if they are telling you that, oh, this thing does, they feel like this about it, and that thing is not right, then your first inclination should be, you know, I take action, I take responsibility for you feeling that way. Then find purpose through positive affirmations. So speak positive, like we were saying earlier on. If you don't mean it, don't say it. I don't
Yeah.
know how to, I'm truthful here. I don't know how to respect a man who is not a man of their words. I don't know how to
Okay.
respect a woman who is not a woman of their words. As small as I am, one thing I don't play with is my words. If I tell you I'm
That
coming,
is self-awareness.
if words mean a lot to me. So what you say to
Yes.
me, it's big. And that is why I'm also sometimes, not all the time, because like I said, when I was doing this research, even me, I fell short. A lot of the indices I used to grade myself, I fell short. But most of the time, I try to ensure that the kind of words I would not want someone to say to me, I don't say it to the person.
Yeah.
And I know that
Important.
that is a Bible verse, but it's my life mantra. If you get an email from me, you see that's how I sign my email. Whatsoever you wish that men would do to you, do so unto them as well. It's as simple as that. If you know that I'm going to use those words on you, you will not like it, then don't use those words on me. Okay, during the week, I want to use 5 minutes. Someone asked me, what is the difference between conflict in marriage and emotional abuse? And I know that emotional abuse on its own is a very large topic. At another time, we will deal with it. But to help this person and their question, I found something that I really, really love that I wanted to share. And that's why I want to talk about it. I couldn't wait. With conflict, a relationship is occasionally challenging.
Yeah.
If you are writing, write it down, because I wrote it down. In fact, I feel like I should just print it like a label. With conflict, a relationship, a love life, a marriage is occasionally challenging. With emotional abuse, it is consistently harmful. That's the difference. So there's a difference between the usual natural disagreement. We have differing opinions. We don't agree in some perspective in what I need, in my emotions right now. I'm not feeling love, like, the example someone gave. I'm not feeling loved. We can differ in all of that. We can even have issues of tension, tense moments, tense disagreements. All those are part of natural conflict. And natural conflict in a relationship should be resolution focused, like Pastor said. Resolution focused. It has come for us to be able to find a resolution. We are looking for what? A solution. And it should be growth oriented. It should be a learning curve for me. I now learn, okay, if I do this, my partner is not going to be happy. If I do this, my partner, that is the learning. And that is the reason why I have a challenge with somebody who keeps repeating the same thing. Because if you've had a conflict about an issue, you're supposed to learn from that situation to know that, okay, this is what triggers my partner, or this is what my partner does not like. For you to keep repeating that thing means that conflict was not properly resolved. However, with emotional abuse, so that we can help you, because some of you are sitting there and thinking, well, every marriage has problem. Your own might not be the normal, every marriage has problem. In emotional abuse, there's pattern of control.
Yeah.
And that's why I was giving the example of, you can't just tell, you're talking to an adult. Don't ever wear green in this house again. Hello. In fact, if you tell me that, that's when I will go and buy green.
I wear it every day.
I am stubborn like that. I'm sorry. That's when I'll start wearing green. But if you have a conversation, see the way Pastor Steve is in his mouth, these women. But if you have a healthy conversation with me and tell me why, I can agree with you and choose not to wear the green anymore. So we're just saying it's not when it's a control pattern.
Mama, I want to say something. Yeah, my wife is saying time is up. Can you imagine?
I'll give you time. Just give me a minute. Then when there's manipulation and degradation, and this is so important.
Very important.
I agree that you get so angry with your partner to the point that you use degrading words on them. Like Pastor Steve said, there should be some levels that we don't cross. There are some things
very important.
Because how do you come back from after you've said that? How do you come back from that? And then that kind of word or those kind of things will continue to make this person start feeling less of themselves. So if you're losing your self-worth, you're beginning to doubt yourself, there's gaslighting, there's manipulation, you're beginning to wonder whether the things you see, you actually saw them or you did not see them.
They are turning the tables, how you made them do what they do.
Exactly. Lack of accountability are the reason why they always behave that way. They never want
Yeah.
you are the one who triggers them. Oh, you know I have anger issues and you are talking to me like that. So you are the one that caused me to. They never take responsibility for their action. If that situation is creating fear, insecurity, emotional stress, conclusively, if it's consistently harmful, you are under emotional abuse. That is not the same as the normal conflict in marriage. I just wanted to use this point to explain to that person who asked me, and I hope they are watching. You know, you can watch it later if you miss the live show. We're always here. You know, please and please be able to separate it. Sit down, check yourself. What is going on? What am I experiencing? Is this the normal conflict? Conflict is normal in relationships. In fact, conflict is good for relationship because it's supposed to make us grow and get to know ourselves better. However,
Yeah.
there's a difference between that and emotional abuse. All right, your point now, man of God and mama.
I met a female pastor who was analyzing Genesis and God's instruction to Adam and Eve, and said that the problem and why the woman, I'm talking to all men, we need to learn from it. God said to them, He said, don't eat the fruit. Women don't do well with don't. You can see the evidence in this discussion, both my wife and my sister. It can work for men, it doesn't work with women.
Oh my God.
Don't begin the conversation of don't do this. Begin the conversation of maybe about the effect. And so God said to them, He said, of every fruit in the garden you should eat, but of these three thou shalt not eat. And see where the problem was. She said in her teaching that the explanation of the why, for a woman, the key is in the why. And all God could offer was the day you eat it, you shall die. And for a woman, that's knowledge. Oh, there's something called death. I didn't know. How does death feel?
I don't understand.
I listened to that sermon and I was shocked.
Oh my
But,
goodness.
but
Oh
you
my
see,
goodness.
the reality of it's as we learn and grow, we learn better in managing the other person. And like we've said today, communication is key, empathy is key, especially in the part of conflicts, in understanding each other. Please do all the best. If I leave you with any word today, what is the motive? I will never forget it. Someone said it to me many years ago, and it has helped my marriage. It has helped me as a man that is very hot-blooded at times when it gets to my emotion to still have conversation where I'm calm, where I can choose my words rightly. Because the focus is not to destroy. The focus is to build. Conflicts come so we can grow. It is part of emotional intelligence so that we know each other better. When we handle them better, it's healthy. But when we don't,
I
It's
don't I
deadly.
don't have I don't have the time anymore. One man once said to me that growing up, he was told that when two people are quarreling, they don't say nice things to each other. They say things that will hurt the other person, whether it is true or not, or whether it is right or wrong. And I think some people have grown with that philosophy. It's not true. You don't have
you
to
need
hurt yourself.
deliverance.
You don't have to hurt yourself in the middle of a conflict or a fight. Okay, Mama Dupsy, your final word. I have only 1 minute.
My final word is, above all, we should actually pray for the spirit of discernment, because there are times all that you've known, all your techniques may fail you, and just need the Holy Spirit to to tell you the right thing to do part time
That's
in
why you need
engaging with
Jesus.
anybody. So Jesus is the key.
I agree. Discernment is powerful.
Whatever
And
your temperament is, there's one part called the spirit-led
Spirit.
temperament.
Yeah.
You
so the
will
Holy
all need
Spirit
it.
will help you. But you see, now you people want to make me to ask you people one question now. Because
Season
there are
two.
some of our people who are speaking in tongues, Holy Spirit filled. Yet, when they react, you'll be wondering, where's this person's Holy Spirit at this point? Let's just
Yeah.
be truthful. Some of our men, some of our women, we go to
Fruit
church, we
of the
speak in
spirit,
tongues,
right?
we bring down God's glory. Then when we come to the house, we are you're not wondering, where is that Holy Spirit in this person?
You
Well,
left it behind.
Now, one of the things that causes that is the emphasis about speaking in tongues and the emotions about the Holy Spirit rather than the fruits of the Holy Spirit. We need to understand that the sign of the Holy Spirit, why speaking in tongues is one. Tongues is one of the many signs: love, gentleness, peace, joy, self-control.
Not people's control, self-control.
Control.
I like the way they are shouting it. So if you're here, you're hearing. I know that, today we are really breaking the table. So not many people are commenting because this is a very, very emotional topic for a lot of people. But please, my final word on that for you today is just be kind. Be kind one to another. Be kind to your spouse. Be kind to your child. Even if they've misbehaved and they've done something that has really hurt you. I don't want to be preaching Bible on this platform, but even Bible say correct in love. In love. Let there still be love even when we are angry with ourselves. Let there still be love, let the love be evident at the point where we now have conflict, at the point where you don't feel like liking, you don't even like this person, but let that love let kindness flow from the way we speak, from the way we act, and the way we react with one another. It will really help us. Everything they said, discernment, wisdom. I pray it all for I and you, for our relationships, for our partners. This is Conversation with the Love Crusader. You have a question, you need counseling, our phone number is attached to our Facebook page. You can send us a message and we will get it immediately. It will just come straight to me, on my WhatsApp. So you can send a message from any part of the world. It's a WhatsApp number. Ask a question. You need to speak with Pastor Steve and, Pastor Mary. If you love them. Many people have told me, I love that couple. Yes, I know you love them. You have issues, don't die in silence. That's why we're here. That's why they are here. I'm very sure they will be open. I can connect you with them. Let them know your issues. Let them know your challenges. Let's help ourselves do this thing that is called love in this life. There's no marriage in heaven. Remember, there's no relationship in heaven. Thank you so much, Pastor May. Thank you so much, Pastor Steve. I always love it when I have you people here. And thank you for always obliging me, for always giving me your time. I know you're busy. I appreciate you so much. God bless you. God bless you.
We love you. We appreciate you too.
If you're in Abuja, Pastor Steve and Pastor May are the lead pastors at Christ Victory Life International Churches, Abuja headquarters. They are in Area 1. So if you're in Abuja and you can go see them in person, best option. All right, I'll see you again next week. Remember to subscribe if you are new. Remember to share. You could be saving someone's relationship. The things we're learning here, they are important and they help us. Thank you so much. I love you all. Have a love-filled week, everyone. Thank you for watching today's video. We appreciate you. Kindly remember to subscribe and share so you can get notification every time we post new videos. Our promise is to ensure that you flourish in love, in life, and in your relationships. See you next week.